Alright, so this drawing was drawn around 2012 or 2013. It was towards my third or fourth year, and a completed third and fourth year in college. So yeah, it might have been 2012, but I'm pretty sure it was 2013. I'm almost 100% sure this was drawn in 2013. So anyways, this is Mandela Effect video, if you're interested in Mandela Effect. So what happens is I take artwork and whatnot, like photos and stuff. So like this sort of stuff is art from people's artwork, and this is artwork. This is pottery. Somebody did pottery of this. And then these were just photos of the Great Pyramids of Giza, right? And then this is, of course, the Eye of Ra. And this is just the sand, right? So, this is the Mandela Effect, the Great Pyramids of Giza. So, as you can see the line up here, on the left is the tallest pyramid, and it's obviously taller, right? Wrong, it's an optical illusion, because as you can see, it's sitting on a hill, right? It's not exactly flat, right? And then this, it's sitting below the hill. That's why you see that right there? Because it's the second pyramid is sitting below the first pyramid. So originally the pyramids were set so that it was on a slope like this, and it sloped all the way up here, and then it went into a big embankment on the left side of them. If you were looking at the pyramids, it would have been on your left side. And then behind us would have been the Sphinx, right? Just to give you some relation to the land. Alright, so yeah, so this pyramid was actually not the biggest pyramid, but it appeared to be the biggest pyramid when you were standing looking at it. If you were standing in the center of the pyramids, like probably like right behind the Sphinx and looking at them, and this one appeared to be the biggest because of the optical illusion of it being higher up on the hill, because it's a slope, right? It's not flat, it's a slope, sandy slope. So the optical illusion made this pyramid look bigger, and that's why I made the pyramid look taller and bigger than the second pyramid. So relatively, if you were to follow the lines, this would be about the height of the second pyramid. So right about here, and as you can see, if you were looking at it, it looked just slightly not as tall. Like you could tell it looked a little bit shorter than this pyramid. So that's why I did the line. If you follow the line here and there, it would be a slightly taller, and that's the most realistic representation of the pyramids, because the photo I was looking at was taken right behind the Sphinx. The person was standing in line with the Sphinx, or like right around the Sphinx, right behind the Sphinx, and was looking at the pyramids. So that's why this one was drawn bigger than that one. And then of course here's the smallest pyramid, because that was the original order back in 2013, was the second biggest pyramid, the biggest pyramid, and then the smallest pyramid. But now, post 2016 Mandela Effect, I don't know exactly when Mandela Effect took hold, but like around 2016 it became really popular, so I'll say post 2016 Mandela Effect. The smallest pyramid is now over here, and then the biggest pyramid is still in the center, or is all the way right, I think. I don't know, you'll have to go look it up, but they reversed order. Now the smallest pyramid is all the way left, which is strange. But anyways, so that's not just the worst thing about it. I remembered growing up, and every single documentary I've watched, and I've watched hundreds of different documentaries over the years on the Great Pyramids of Giza, and not just Great Pyramids of Giza, but Egypt in general, and pharaohs, and they always put in the Great Pyramids of Giza, even if they're just talking about the pharaohs. They can't not talk about it because it's the Great Pyramids of Giza. You have to talk about that. It's just in them. So all these documentaries, hundreds of them, at least hundreds of them, probably just over 100, but around 100-ish documentaries I've watched over the years since I was a little kid on the Great Pyramids of Giza and Egypt and pharaohs. They always talked about the pyramids being inaccessible to people easily. So now, mind you, to get to the pyramids, they said, was a 14-mile drive over uneven sand dunes and terrain that was hard to drive over. Like, the cars would get stuck, and then they would have to unstick them, and it would take forever to get their expeditions and whatnot. And that's why the pyramids stayed so pristine for so long, was because they were out in the middle of a desert and nobody was messing with them. There weren't a lot of people visiting them and whatnot and touching them and destroying them. So that's why they stayed so pristine for so long. And they made that clear, that the reason why they stayed so pristine and so preserved so well was that humans couldn't mess with them and mess it up and mess them up, because we were so far away from them. And you had to cross 14 miles of barren desert sand dunes to get to it, and it was really hard and inaccessible to get to the pyramids, right? So then all of a sudden, nowadays, I'm looking at pictures of them, right, that people are taking, and right behind them is the city. Like, literally, you can see the city in the background. Now, if there was a city in the background, when I would have drawn this in 2013, I would have drawn the city, because that would have made it look really cool, like the city in the background. But it wasn't like that. So there is no city. Obviously, there's no city in the background. So where did this city come from? And where did this 14 miles just disappear to? And 14 miles, now mind you, from 2013 to 2016, how are you going to fill in 14 miles with a city that was 14 miles away? There's no way that there could have been enough population growth in that city to drive it that close. And it was like you could see the heart of the city in the background of their photos too. It wasn't like just the edge of the city too. So I don't get how that just happened. A whole city just moved right behind the pyramids when it had been 14 miles across treacherous sand dunes and treacherous desert to make it to the pyramids. And that's why they had stayed so pristine. Now you could just walk from the city to the pyramids and you'd be alright with just maybe a few days supply or whatever, because I don't know how long it would take you to walk that far in that really extreme desert. But even if you just took 2 days supply, 1 day to walk there and 1 day to walk back, and then half a day spent there or whatever, but still, it's within walking distance now, the city. It's crazy. And you had to trek over 14 miles of treacherous desert sand dunes that were so bad that it would take them weeks to reach it from the city. Weeks. Not days. Weeks. Almost a month sometimes. And then if there were a sandstorm, it would take them a month and a half sometimes, because the sandstorm would push them back a ways. and then it would make it so that the sand dunes were extra sinkish on their vehicles and everything. Their vehicles would sink more because it's fresh sand. It's just like fresh snow. You sink down into it, but more. Yeah. So where did this 14 miles go? It just disappeared with the Mandela effect. And then they changed order and they changed size. Like now, the pyramids are more even looking. But yeah, I do have another picture I drew where they're only slightly different, but it was a little bit more exaggerated than this. The reason being was I had to fit this picture right here, so yeah, it kind of messed that up. But then look, you see this one, right? So if you follow the lines all the way at the top, that's the top of this pyramid. So if you follow the line of this pyramid, you would estimate it to be about here. So it would be a little bit taller. I know it's hard to do, but it would be right about there. It would be slightly taller. So yeah, this one's represented right, and this one's represented right, accurately. But yeah, so I don't know why I just changed like that. Let me see if I got any other pictures of the pyramids on hand. No, not in this one. But I only have one more picture anyway, so it doesn't matter. But yeah. So if this one was really looked even with that one like it does now, you look at the pictures, then why would I draw it taller? And why would I remember that the picture was taller too? I've focused so much on these pyramids over the years. I would have known if they appeared to be similar in height if you're standing behind the Sphinx looking at them. But now they are. They're even in height, and then the smaller ones moved all the way left. Why would I draw the small one all the way right if it's all the way left now? Makes no sense at all. And then why wouldn't I draw the city if the cityscape was in the background? Makes no sense. I mean, the city in the background would have made this picture look so cool. It would have been a cooler background than just black. I mean, come on now. Don't you think it would have been cooler to put the city in there if there actually was a city? Obviously there wasn't a city there when I drew this in 2013. There was no city there. The city was 14 miles away back in 2013. And then now, post 2016, this is right behind it. Like seriously, how does this happen? Only in the Mandela effect. If you're wondering, this is the sun. It's how they depict the sun in Egyptian culture. That's the sun rays, and that's the sun. That's the sun dots, because you can see sun blemishes sometimes. So, but that was more like the sun gods looking at you. That's why they did that like that. But yeah, anyways. And then this is I'm pretty sure it was like their lion type god type thing. I don't know if you would call it a lion or some type of cat of some sort. Yeah, just some sort of cat head that was on a body statue type thing that was like their god representation. And then of course that's Ira. Alright, so yeah, let me know in the comment section what you think about the Mandela effect pyramids, and if you remember it like I do, the city being 14 miles away and very hard to access the Great Pyramids of Giza, and that's why not many tourists visited them. If you remember it like that, please tell me in the comment section down below. Alright, see you.